Hi, in this video I wanted to explain why you should go for MS Frog and how it will help you in real life problems that you are facing at work. So without much further ado, let's get started. Okay, so the first thing that we're going to discuss is the fact that within MS Frog we can have repeating tasks. So rather than having to remember which fire extinguisher is due for maintenance and when, or when is the first state of certificate of that particular person is going to expire, or the fact that we have to get customer feedback on a periodic nature, rather than having these things in someone's mind, we can set these up to be as repeating tasks within MS Frog, which will automatically send us an email to remind us that we have to do these things. Okay, so that is the first thing. The second benefit or feature is that we can have event-triggered tasks. Okay, event-triggered tasks are, for example, when you're going to hire a new employee, we can have a list of default tasks that will trigger whenever there is an event. Okay, so for example, when we're hiring an employee, we need to get certain details from the employee, like the bank details, to send them the wage. We need to get next of kin. We need to get sign the employment contract, sign the NDA. All of these tasks, rather than being random things that we have to do, they can be tasks defined within MS Frog that can therefore be then allocated to individual people who will have to do these particular tasks depending on the particular event that is being triggered. Okay, so rather than having to remember these things, we can have them all placed in one location. MS Frog is really strong when it comes to centralizing all the tasks in one place. So as we've mentioned, there is the idea of having default tasks, repeating tasks, but we can also have tasks coming, for example, from internal audits, or from external audits, or from our management reviews. So all of these tasks are going into one place, and with MS Frog we have the ability to have a pending task report, a breach report, that will give us a list of all the tasks that are overdue of the different people within the organization. This will help us to first of all identify any missed or delays tasks, but also helps to spot any systemic issues. Is there any one person or any one process that is consistently not doing the tasks that are assigned to them? If so, we need to take action accordingly. Apart from that, MS Frog will also tell us the upcoming tasks. So if someone, for example, is going out on leave, then we have the ability to plan the tasks that person has to do, so that we stop firefighting and start managing our business in a much more proactive way. Speaking of not firefighting, it is not ideal to have any part of your business reliant on a particular person, on a particular individual, and that is why MS Frog helps in moving away from reliance on an individual person, which might have specific knowledge in their head. For example, when particular training is due, where particular notes are being taken, okay, or how a certain process is done. We can structure all this information within MS Frog to make sure that we have the ability to keep on going irrespective of any one particular person, because the show must go on always within the company. So having this type of structure really helps your organization. And having a centralized and structured documentation system will make sure that all documents are stored in one place. Rather than having documents stored in centralized on Dropbox, on Google Drive, links there, on Confluence, on Notion, all this information has to be stored in one single location, which is MS Frog, which comes with, as we're going to see in the next topic, which comes with version control. Okay, so like that we're going to know what all documentation that is available. Many a times I'm speaking with my clients and they tell me, I know that we've had the document somewhere, but I have no idea where it is saved. And that is because it can be saved in 1,000,001 different locations. And even if they have SharePoint, they have Dropbox, Google Drive, some people just want to save documents on their own folders or on their own systems. With MS Frog, since we're going to have the ability to put everything in one place, we're going to make sure that everyone is putting all the documents there, because then this document control system is also linked with the internal audit function. And therefore, when we are doing the internal audit function, we're going to instantly notice that certain documents are missing. Okay, so this is a really, really helpful feature. And the next topic, as I've mentioned earlier, relates to version control. Okay, so in version control, as I might have mentioned, you can create certain documents like the manual, the management system manual, so like the quality manual, information security manual, statement of applicability. You can create the quality policy, information security policy. All of these documents are going to be created within MS Frog natively by just giving the information in the particular sections. It's a very easy way of doing this. So once you create these documents and also upload any other documents that you might wish to upload within MS Frog, it will automatically create a version. Once you update that document, it will name it version 2, version 3, version 4. It will give you the date and time and person who made this particular change, and it will give you the ability to go to previous versions to make sure that you have a full traceability of what has been changed over times. Okay? Moreover, when a particular document is due to be reviewed, for example, the manual, after 2 years, it will turn into orange, signifying that it is due for review. After 3 years, it will turn into red to remind you that you have to update that particular document to make sure that you are constantly checking that your documents are still relevant for the scope of your management system. Okay? An important feature is the internal audit self-service tool. Okay, so with MS Frog, you have the ability to do the internal audits yourself, and you can get your colleagues, your team members to do internal audits, meaning, naturally, that you'll be able to do the internal audits at a more frequent basis. Okay, this will internally mean that you can have more quality control checks, which will keep people in check, knowing that they're going to soon have their processes audited, okay? And therefore, maybe they will avoid missing some corners, and just do the work as intended by following the actual process. More so, decentralized teams can act independently without losing oversight. So what we mean by this is that you can have different offices, you can have different people, you can have different departments or sections doing the work. However, you don't need to keep an active eye on them, because you know that through the internal audit function, someone is checking how they're working and that they are constantly following the process as was agreed during the implementation. Okay? So standard process standardization templates. I come in contact with many people and they tell me that they're thinking about doing an internal audit checklist, that they are doing a process for onboarding people, for offboarding people. They want to do a process for how to handle disasters, how to handle a fire drill emergency, etc. And many a time they wouldn't have the time they need to be able to create such processes. MS Frog comes pre-built with all of these processes available for you, and not only that, but they are also ISO compliant, so you can just load these processes and just use them freely however you want within your organization. Okay, so this is a really, really handy tool. Another important feature that MS Frog has that will help you to make sure that you are working in a very consistent way is the fact that it will automatically create a training plan for your employees. How? When you are mapping out the processes, you're going to map for each step within each process, you're going to give a job title for each particular step. Okay, so this particular job title is involved in this process, and this process, handling these particular steps. All of that information will automatically go into the job description, and therefore, by using that job description, you have a training plan of all the training that you need to give a person once they join your company. I find that tool to be incredibly helpful. And last but not least, and I'm aware that I'm a consultant myself, using this tool, you can reduce your reliance on consultants. Because if you can do internal audits yourself internally, as the name suggests, then you can have or interact with a consultant on a more strategic level rather than asking the simple questions relating to an internal audit, which can be done in-house. You can work with your consultant to work bigger problems, to fry bigger fish, with your consultants. And I believe that is the role of a consultant, not to ensure compliance. Ensuring compliance is very easy with MS Frog. Working with a consultant should mean that you are not only achieving compliance, because that is easy, but up your level and structure your business and organize how you work to achieve the freedom that you and your employees deserve in terms of not firefighting, not constantly firefighting, but rather working in a more proactive way because your business is now finally in control. Those are the 10 benefits that we saw clients most appreciating within MS Frog based on their actual feedback. And in the first place, this software was created based on 14 years of experience of me working one-on-one with clients whilst helping them implement and maintain their ISO certifications. If you have any questions about the software, I would be thrilled to help you out. And we welcome you to the MS Frog community, which is filled with enthusiastic people who are willing to learn and to have all the tools in their hand through books, AI chatbots, live videos, demonstrations, group coaching sessions, everything that is needed to make sure that you succeed. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out, or else if you'd like to have a demo of how MS Frog can help your organization achieve all of these 10 benefits, let's have a conversation and I'm sure that we'll be able to help out. Thank you so much.